So we are going to start this first edition of the terminology workshop in the context of the project Places of Learning. I would like to welcome to all of you for being there, for taking part in this workshop. My name is Manuel. I'm a content strategist at Big Kids. And what we do is we help law firms to improve the quality of their web content. And today, one of the activities that we do as a pro bono activity in the framework of Big Kids is we created this community of practice called Places of Learning, in which we create spaces for legal professionals, but also professionals from other disciplines to come together and to learn, to exchange on topics like communication, service design, digital transformation of the legal sector, web communications, etc. So we have created this space. We organize activities for the lawyers to come to share how they see the sector, and this is in this framework that we're organizing for the first time this terminology workshop. I would like to suggest that we stay together for 1 hour. I would like to also to ask you if you want to interrupt me with some questions. So don't hesitate to do it at any time. I'm going to share with you the slides of the workshop. So, a terminology workshop. This is going to be sharing with you very practical. I would like you to leave the workshop with a very concrete methodology of how to improve a legal text, how to make it more clear for the people that are reading it. And there are two basic rules in terminology. The first one is never use words that your audience does not understand. And the second is try to be accurate in your choice of words. So how does it work, this methodology? So first we start by circling words. Basically, we pick up a legal text and we are going to go word by word, and so we just circle the words that we think are not clear. Obviously, we assume that these words are not clear. We might forget to circle certain words because for us they are very clear. Sometimes we have this what is called the course of knowledge. When we know something, we tend to forget what it is not to know. So sometimes we might make mistakes and we might not circle certain words because we are experts at something. But we assume that, okay, when we start this exercise, we start by circling the words that we think that our audience will not understand. And then once that we circle these words, we place them in a table. I have a table, an Excel table here, and so when we find when we circle the words, we place every single word. Well, we are very methodological here. Every single word that is circled in the document, we put it in this table. And then what we are going to go is to go through an analysis, a rigorous analysis of each of those each of one of those single words. And so how are we going to analyze each of those single words that we highlighted, we circled in the document, is that we are going to use the decision tree. And so this is the decision tree that I created. There are two, and we start by asking ourselves, so we're going one by one word by word. So the first word, and we ask, is it common use? And so by common use is like it's a word that is maybe not clear, but is commonly used by people. No, so if it's common use, you leave it, and if it's not common use, then we go to the next step in the tree. So we say this is a word that is not common, is not commonly used. Then the next question that we ask is, does this word have a specific legal meaning? And so if the answer to this question is no, then we replace the word. Okay. If the answer to this question is yes, this word has a specific legal meaning, then we are in what is considered a legal term or a term of art. And so, and this is when we go to the next decision tree. Normally, these are terms that are legal terms that are legally have a specific legal meaning. They are about 3% of those terms, so there are not so many. 3% of those terms are terms of art. So what happens when we have a term of art? So we go to decision tree number 2. And so we have a legal word. And so the questions that we ask is, first, is the reader is the reader disadvantaged if they do not know the word? That means that if the reader doesn't know the word, are we placing the reader in a situation of disadvantage in the relationship between the parties? Is it that means that if the reader knows this word, he will be empowered. It will be more protected in the relationship. If the reader is not disadvantaged, if they do not know the word, that means that this word is not really important. We should not be teaching our readers legal or law. And so in that sense, we are going to replace that with a plain language alternative. So basically, if we have a word in which it doesn't alter the power relationship between the parties, we should not be teaching non-lawyers the law. So we are going to replace this word with a plain language alternative. Now, if the reader is disadvantaged, that means that this word is important. This word is changing the power relationship between the parties. If he doesn't know this word, it can have some consequences. So then here we have two options. Either the word is simple to define, using the definition formula that we are going to explain you. So then we keep the word in the text and we define. We define the word. We're going to explain what the definition is a bit later. In the case that the words need an explanation, so then we can keep the word and explain it. So that is two different things: the definition and an explanation. Sometimes can be just a definition can be enough. We keep the word and we define, and or we can keep the word and explain. But these are the words in which are important. They are legal terms in which the reader is disadvantaged if they don't know it. So we are, as drafters, we are obliged to explain it. So let's work this methodology with a concrete example. There are two documents that I share with you to via email, but also you can find them in the in the chat. And one of the documents is in English, the other one is in French. We are going to work with the one in English. It was sent by Ilona. I think she's present in the room. But this is a document in which, if you go to one of the headings in this document, it's the part is called case law. And I don't know if you have the document in front of you, but if you have it, you can go to the heading called case law, and we are going to go to the part, the third paragraph, and try to simplify this paragraph. So let's see, okay, what we did is first we start circling words. So in the third paragraph, we circle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words. And what I did, I put them in the table. The table that is just an Excel file, where you can use other tools if you want. Some people use Trello, some people use Post-its, but basically it's a list of words. And so in this paragraph, we have the first word that we circle, which is we think that is not, people don't understand, is void. So basically, the first question in the decision tree is it a common use, this term? Is it commonly used? I concluded no, it's not common use. People normally doesn't know what void means in the framework of a contract. And so the next question in the decision tree is, does this word void has a specific legal meaning? And then I replied to this question, yes. So yes, it has a specific legal meaning. Now, does the next question is the user, the reader, disadvantaged if they do not know the word? And I concluded in this case, no, it's not disadvantage if the reader doesn't know the word. So we decided to replace it, with something, some word that is more clear. And so I replace it, instead of void, I put not applicable. And the same with unenforceable. So we replace these two words, the first two words, void and unenforceable with the term not applicable. So basically, a tenant was successful in claiming that the terms of sale and rent-back agreement were not applicable because the precise terms of the agreement were not set out or incorporated. So the next term that I highlighted is incorporated. Incorporated, is it another term that I consider that it was not clear in this paragraph? Is it common use? No. Does it have a specific legal meaning? I said yes, has a specific legal meaning, but I don't think that the reader is disadvantaged if they do not know the word incorporated. So we can just, replace this word with an alternative that is more simple, like joint. So you see, you're following a little bit the logic here. This is a question that I asked to you, either Alona or Manik. Is it you're following the logic?
Yes. I only have I have two remarks. I see that Jeffrey is trying to join us. He just sent me a chat by Skype. I think he has some problems to join us. So perhaps you could send him a message. Or well, I could send him a message in Skype because he contacted me in Skype. That's sorry to disrupt your seminar. But,
is it trying to join from Chrome, Google Chrome?
I don't know. He says is the seminar maintained and how can I join? So normally he must have had a mail like me with a link to the seminar. I think.
Just send him the link of the.
I will send him the
URL.
Link, the URL with the link. Okay, and secondly, concerning the what you explain, how do you estimate if something is common use or not? For me, the word incorporated seems pretty common, but are there criteria, or how do you estimate that a word is common used or not common used? I find it a little bit difficult to estimate.
Yeah, it's something that that you need to first think about who is the reader of this contract or this legal content, and what is the region in which this legal document is working, is entering into force. And so you have to make an assumption yourself as the writer. Is it something that is commonly used in the region where this document is going to be applied? Ideally, the would be to do some tests to show that to test it with some people that are in the segment of the audience that you are trying to write for or target with this document. So if you can test it and ask it with people, yes. Otherwise, you have to make a guess yourself by what you know of your user and by what you know of the region in which the language of the region in which you are writing for.
Okay.
Does it make sense?
Yes, but so you start from yourself, from your own knowledge. Does a common public know a word or not?
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
and experience.
That's it. That is something that you think is common use or not. As a writer, you have to ask this question. If you have the resources to actually test it with somebody and ask and verify, okay, this is something, maybe you can test it with somebody and say, okay, do you understand and do you use commonly this word? Otherwise, you just have to, in this decision tree, you just need to go with your assumption at the moment in which you write. So I'm trying to continue with, like, say, okay, imagine that you say the word is a legal word, has a specific legal meaning. And if we go with the word, for example, a case law, case law, if we circle the word case law, and we try to follow the tree in this for this word. We say, okay, no, it's not common, if not of common use. It's not of common use for everybody knows what case law means. That's case law has a. Oh, I'm hearing with people now. Can you mute your? Exactly, perfect. Thank you very much. Does it have a specific legal meaning, case law? Yes. Now, the next question is the reader disadvantaged if they do not know what case law means? And so if we say, yes, the reader is disadvantaged if they don't know what case law means, that means that we need to keep it. So we keep the word because it's a word that influences the power relationship between the parties. So we keep the word, but we need to explain it and or find a definition. So in that case, we go to the part of how to make a definition. And so a definition has four parts. The first is the term being defined. The second part is a verb. The third part of a definition is the general group to which this term belongs. And the fourth is the unique characteristic that distinguishes the term from all others in the group. I'm going to show you an example. Robin is a group. So it starts with the term, the verb, and then the group to which this object belongs to, so a type of songbird. That unique characteristic of this term is that it flies south for the winter and eats seeds and fruits. So this would be the four elements of a definition. Example, with jurisdiction is the group is the authority that a court has to hear disputes and to make legal decisions and judgments. It's a unique characteristic of this this term inside the group to which it belongs. And for example, if we are making a definition of a case law, this is the term we need to define what case law is. It's a set of public documents that can only be drafted by a judge or court after having heard all the parties in a judgment and interpreted the law that applied to the situation. So that would be an example of a definition. Is you start with the term that you're trying to define, then the verb is a set of public documents, and the group to which it belongs is a set of public documents, and then the specific characteristic of this element of this object in the group to which it belongs. So a case law are public documents that can only be drafted by a judge or court after having held all the parties in a judgment and interpreted the law that applied to the situation. This is an example of a definition. So if we come back to the decision, to the table, we identify first the case law as we circle the word. We consider that it's not common use, or we think that has a specific legal meaning, that if the parties don't know it, they would be disadvantaged in the power relationship, and so we keep the word in the text, but we define it. Another alternative is the explanation. So if we consider that instead of a definition, we say a definition is maybe it's very difficult to do, or we don't have it with us, then we need to explain it. And here I put an example of an explanation. It takes longer than a definition, but a definition is more succinct, is more precise. An explanation sometimes can include examples, so it's a bit longer. So that the consequence of that is that we keep the word. In this case, is force majeure, and we explain it. And this is an example of an explanation of force majeure. We keep the word and we explain it. So no responsibility for events beyond our control. Force majeure, we are not legally responsible for any loss that you incur if an extraordinary act that we cannot anticipate or control stops us from meeting our obligation under that agreement. So we keep the word and we explain it. Because otherwise, if we replace it, I mean, if we don't, this we would be, altering the power relationship of the relationship in the contract. So this is a word that we need to leave. It's a word that if we delete it, it changes, it alters the power relationship in the contract. So we need to keep it, and we need to explain it. So now, if we are doing this work of simplifying this paragraph, a tenant was successful in claiming that the term of a sale and rent back agreement were void and unenforceable. So we need to write the new paragraph. I'm going to write the new paragraph that would be simplified after the process. After we did the filtering, a tenant was successful in claiming that the terms of a sale and rent back agreement were, and here we replace void and unenforceable by not applicable, were not applicable, because the precise terms of the agreement or a if we replace here incorporated by joined, in a single written document instead, contained in a variety of sources. We replace sources by places. The court found the contract did not comply, and we replace comply with respect with section, without respect the section 2 of the law of property. So at the end, we would have a simplified paragraph after the application of this methodology. Do you have any questions so far?
I think I have a question and maybe just some remarks. So I think first about how you decide whether the term is sort of common use or not. Yeah, you're obviously relying on yourself, but I think I read somewhere another approach than in deciding whether the word is actually complex to understand and too complicated. It's sometimes as simple as the number of syllables. So it's just generally advisable to replace long words with shorter ones if it's possible, because the longer the word is, the more complicated it's likely is, and then the more specialized it's likely to be. And with the testing, again, just appreciating that you start obviously with yourself, with your own understanding how the audience perceives the words. But then if you do want to test it with somebody, not everybody have time and sort of resources to do that, to get feedback from actual users. So I think my question here to Manuel is whether you know about some testing that took place, any sort of testing of legal documents with the general public and what the results were.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ilona, for your point. In terms of the testing, it's always good to if you know that testing takes time, takes resources, but it's better to test it with one person, if possible, than just do nothing at all. You always increases your chances to eliminate the unclear words by testing, and sometimes these testing experiments, they are easier than we thought. Maybe just placing the word in front of a colleague, or maybe asking somebody in the street. It's better to do it something quick and than do nothing about it. In terms of tests, you can also go to legal forums to try to do the test there. Sometimes online we have these possibilities to go to forums or Facebook groups or LinkedIn groups where legal issues are discussed, and just ask a question. Sometimes this is something that it's easier than we tend to think. If you ask about public tests or more organized testing, I unfortunately don't have experience on that. But sometimes questions that you get from your clients are good examples of a term that is not clear in that sense. A word that is simple, a word that is shorter. That's a very good point. You mentioned that if you can, simplification can also include using words that are less long, and that's a very good point that I'm going to take. Words are, like long-term memories. They are sticking into our brains, and so when we see a word that we recognize, it's a word that we can read it much faster, and it facilitates the reading process. So we need to really try to with the resources that we have to make the text as clear as possible.
Okay, so yeah, thanks for your insight.
Any other questions?
Voilà, il faudrait trouver la bonne phrase
So if we don't have questions, then I would like to finish end this work. If you want to continue testing this methodology with other tests, I would be happy to do it. This is the first experiment of this workshop, so I'm using you as Guinea pigs in this the design of the workshop experience. I'm going to this workshop is being recorded and going to analyze and try to improve it in the future. But if you have some suggestions or feedback on the workshop itself, I would be happy, because we're always trying to improve the workshops that we do. And without we don't have any other question, I would like to thank you very much to all of you for being there. It has been a pleasure to see you, and I wish you a very good rest of the day.
Thank you for the workshop.
Thank you, Manuel. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Bye.